Thanks for staying with us. A classroom teacher, as many of you know, in one of the primary schools in Ikorodu here in Lagos State, identified as Stella Nwadigo, was arrested yesterday after a viral video leaked of her physically assaulting a 3-year-old pupil in her class for not writing as instructed. The shocking footage that quickly went viral has sparked widespread outrage and raised serious concerns about the safety and welfare of our children in our educational institutions. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Because many of us have expressed our views on this online, but we'd like to hear it here on your view. You can call us on 081 7641 679 090 241 63440. You can also send your messages on X and on YouTube. We'll be happy to read your thoughts. We also saw the video, quite disturbing, I would say. And many of us we've had children and we've seen how it can be very difficult, some kids, in getting them to do certain things, you know. And I can understand the frustration of an adult when you're trying to tell a child what to do. But how you help a child and the method in which you get a child to do things is different from different people and varies amongst different people. So let me start with, how did you feel when you watched that video before we now go to what could have caused it? What are your thoughts on that video? Who would like to go first?
I know that when I watched it, I was screaming, and I was in the car with my son at the back, and I just kept saying, Jesus, Jesus, you know. It was like, what's happening? Yeah. Because I could not believe that we still do that. Now, would I say that I was surprised? Like, this is, unthinkable, does not happen. Of course I was not. But that, you know, that we still have incidences where a woman, a teacher, thinks that that's the only way to handle a child, you know, that's learning. It was so sad to watch. It was so heartbreaking. And for me, it just shows why we have a lot of issues in our country with a lot of people. First of all, that boy may grow up and never want to be in school. And we'll just say, it's a bad boy or it's a bad child. But we forget the part that as adults we have played in the lives of these children. Why do you think a 3-year-old deserves any kind of hitting for learning something? He's writing numbers and you slap him. Okay, I understand that we have a culture where you are meant to not spare the rod. Wasn't there a kinder way that you should do it? You see, that's why I always say that I'm not for hitting people. I'm not for beating any children. Figure out a way to punish children. If this child had reported, the most she would say is that, I beat him and the family is upset. The child was not doing his work well and I beat him. And you know how beating is subjective. Everyone has a way that they describe it. They will say, I did not really beat him. But when you now see the beating yourself, you're like, what is this? Is this person a human being? Were you hitting a human being or were you hitting an animal? Even animals are protected from violence from human beings. That was so sad, so traumatizing for me, honestly. And I'm happy that whoever took the time to take the video, I was thinking, I had different theories about who might have taken it. I'm thinking maybe another colleague who's seen her behave like that, and maybe the school did not take any action towards her behavior, decided to do this, and I'm grateful for that person. But really, that she did it so comfortably. Well, she thought they were all children. Nobody's watching her. She can get away with it. But to do it so comfortably and get away with it.
So watching that video was really traumatic for me, in the sense that, why do we send children to school? Why do we as adults even go to school? To seek knowledge. And this is a child. How dare you punish a child for not knowing? Do you understand? Like, a child is writing numbers. The child doesn't know how to write. He's trying to write number 6 on what I got from the video. And you're hitting the child for not knowing. You are not qualified to be a teacher in any way or form. Are you even a human being? Who hits someone for not knowing? It's okay not to know. This child definitely is going to be traumatized. How does a parent save money in this hard economy, send their child to school to learn, and then you traumatize that child for not knowing, for trying to learn? Then this child goes back home, doesn't want to wake up in the morning. You know, sometimes when kids are traumatized, they start wetting the bed. It starts affecting the child in certain ways. They might not want to eat. And you're wondering, why is my child so cranky? Why is my child acting out? You don't even know that it's just this wicked human being that is doing that. How can you, is there no other way? Then, you talked about like, is there no other way to punish a child? Why should a child be punished for not knowing? There's no punishment in not knowing. Some kids are slow learners. Some kids are faster learners. With kids that are slow learners, the reason why you're qualified as a teacher to train children, because not every teacher, not everybody can train or handle kids. The reason why you're there to train kids is because you have empathy. It's because you're kinder, you're nicer, you're different from other people.
Amaka, I hear you, but let's say, before I come to YK, let me put things in another perspective, because I don't want us to pretend like what Mariam said earlier, that let's not pretend like this, we've never heard this before, or this didn't even happen to some of us growing up, because we live in Nigeria. Many of us have watched foreign movies and how they pamper children. Yes, we've seen, because we are exposed. But there are many people who don't have that exposure. What they know is how we were raised, where they will knock your head. And you couldn't write, you can't draw a circle. They will pull your ears. I still pull my child's ears because his handwriting was poor up until going to years 5. And like, you are about to write common entrance, for heaven's sakes. Why is your handwriting like that? So this is us. It's just that this time there is a camera. Now we are all judges. But the truth is, this is who we are. So shouldn't we be pointing the fingers to ourselves just as much as we are pointing to this woman? Yes, you're right, what she did was wrong. But it's not just her. She's just a scapegoat because there's a camera. Culture. But all of us have done it, and we've done it to people, and they've done it to us too. So why do we blame one person? Because, we have better exposure today. Mikey?
I hear you. And, like you say, most of us, that knock on the head, it came. That our brains go, maybe that's why we are all not normal in Nigeria. Because they have given us so many knocks on the head. And beatings with canes, I think the problem is that this was a small child. A very small. They were saying, the video was saying he's 3. I think he's older than 3.
He may just be a big 3. Have you seen my child when I was 3?
Big 3. That child can be 3 as well.
Well, maybe I can't watch the video. I tried to watch it just now when you were talking, Amaka. Those kind of, because cringe, I can't, I hate people being cruel to children, So I really can't, that when we employ teachers, I think we need to, this woman might be going through her own frustration in her house. You know how much is that frustration that she's going on, that the child is coming and she's giving him that frustration that she's going through.
And she hit him so hard, as if she was hitting a full-grown adult.
It's wickedness, and it's wickedness because of her own problem. And at that time, she's not even realizing that what she's doing is wrong. It is the person who was filming her, who probably was tired of the way she has been beating children, just because you can see it's a secret. So that one has, and put it out there.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. So
it seems
so it's not the first time. So
it's not the first time.
This,
It's obvious the girl that is, or the woman or man, whoever is filming. There is another man sitting there. He's very unconcerned.
I didn't notice that.
There's another man.
With what is happening, it's very, and that child is being. So they are used to it.
It goes back to our society. I want us to open up this conversation, because that's how we as a people need to change the way we raise our children. Yes, people are reading books, they're parenting, but there's a larger chunk of our society that are oblivious of how to raise children today.
Morayo, we have spoken so many times at this table about to beat or not to beat. And one thing that I notice in our conversations, if we see a video of a child misbehaving and no one does anything, we come, no, beat him. If you had beaten him and beaten her, this would not have happened. It's the lack of beating. Then when we now see a video of when they beat her, never, how do you beat? Even us as Nigerians, we are yet to understand what we would rather want for our children. I have always maintained, and I will continue to maintain, no beating. It makes no sense. Because the beating, the anger, when you feel that you beat someone for bad behavior, it becomes a habit. That even in situations where the person does not deserve it, that's what you're used to. There's also an adjoining video of a lady who was at the police station when this woman was arrested. And she seemed so angry, and I think she was also threatening the woman. It's the same, it comes from the same spirit of violence.
Yes.
So we don't, that principle of just being violent to each other will carry, sadly, a child like this may go through this with all of us up in arms and end up being just like this
that.
woman, because that is the culture. That's what we know.
God bless
but
you.
It does not serve us.
There
was a parent, we took a story, there was a parent who had gone to school
Yes, I was going to take that
beat
story.
up a teacher who had beaten up his child. Beaten Abby, and then ended up, that teacher died. And people were like, that parent is a bad parent. They're trying to raise your child properly. You did not beat your child. That's why that child went to school, and now you have killed the teacher.
Yes.
But they forget that there was a teacher that beat up a child and killed the child.
And also, if there was a similar story where a child bullied a younger child, right? And we saw that story where the aunt of the child who was bullied, the next day, when, of course, the parents, everybody came, it was a boarding house, when they called the police, they started slapping the boy. And I was like, why would you slap a child? Because, oh, he bullied your child. Is that violence? Going to a police station, a private citizen, going to a police station to accuse another private citizen who has equal rights. This woman who beats up the child is a Nigerian. Every right the Constitution affords me, affords that one that went to the police station, and now it's the same.
Yeah.
We are equal before the law. You have the audacity to go to the station and accuse her. Who are you? Because the police.
Aisha wasn't a policewoman.
No, it's not. We know the person, and she's a friend of the house. The point is that we as a people, that's the violence we're talking about, we as a people need to be less violent because the law has arrested her. Let the law take its course. You as a citizen, you have the same right as that woman who is being accused of beating a child, but let the law deal with her. You as a person should not do that because it's that violent nature. And that's why I come to Nollywood. Nollywood reinforces it.
Yeah.
Nollywood makes, until you scatter, hey, look at us, we're emotional.
Yes.
We should stop doing that.
We should.
If your husband dies, if you don't scream and roll on the floor, it is you that killed him. We reinforce it in Nollywood. That's why things like this happen, and we all want you to shout, how can you? How can you? What is that? We've passed that level in this country.
And the funny thing is that, corporal punishment back in the day all over the world was acceptable, where you say, okay, flog the child, maybe under their feet or whatever.
Spare the rod.
And spare the child. But then, the Nigerian Child Rights Act 2003 had, some states had adopted it because they said, okay, no beating of kids, right? Because they're trying to protect the child from not being abused mentally, physically, emotionally. And then some states still today have still not adopted that. So looking at this, the states have not adopted that. What are they also saying and what are they also propagating in terms of abusing children? Because you also need to look at it because it's one Nigeria. But then if there's a right that has been, there's a law that to protect children has been passed and certain states in Nigeria have still not embraced that, what are we saying as a people? The same thing that you're trying to say. How do you punish? You can also punish kids by saying, okay, you want to flog on the palm or under the feet where you don't also create too much harm and scars on the child. There has to be rules to these things. Nobody is saying don't punish children.
In my own school, it was cane. Yes. You raise out your hand and they will cane you. So, and when they cane you, I also had the principal who cane us on our calves. Fia. You will dance then. Exactly. I didn't see anything. And I have to be honest, I still don't see anything wrong in it. I have to be very, very honest that I believe that cane shaped me.
So it depends on which.
So let me
go on a break.
Now it is okay.
Let me go on a break. Are you done with your thoughts? I want you to finish your thought.
So it is. What are we? We are now following the Western world, and I still believe in. Go on.
Okay, sorry, I scattered your brain. Let me go on a short. We're going to come back and continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.